Krsna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasati Gaur Bhakta.
Hare Krishna. Welcome back. We are reading Bhagavad-gita because that is the best thing we can do. Bhagavad-gita as it is, translated and with purpose from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are reading text 16 to start with of the second chapter, Contents of the Gita Summarized. I will start with the Sanskrit. Na shato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayorapi drishtontas, tvananyos tattvadarshibhi. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Purport. There is no endurance of the changing body, that the body is changing every moment by the action and reaction of different cells, is admitted by modern medical science, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever-changing and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalists and personalists. In the Vishnu Purana 2.12.38, it is stated that Vishnu and his abode all have self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotingshi Vishnur Bhuvanani Vishnu. The words existent and non-existent, existent and non-existent, refers only to spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of truth. Yes, so we're coming down to something fundamental. We're speaking about the soul, we're speaking about the difference between the body and the soul. And there are, of course, different viewpoints in different philosophies and cultures, but all over the board, from the knowledge based on the Vedas, there are different schools. They don't agree on everything. This is one point they do agree on. The soul is eternal and unchanging. The body is changing constantly. We have heard that every cell in the body, over a period of 7 years, they have all been changed. So it's a little bit like the philosophy. If you have a bike and you change one wheel and you change the handle, you change another wheel, and then maybe at one point you need to get new brakes and a new frame. Is it the same bike? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The point is, the person who's riding the bike is not affected by these changes. And in the same way, the body changes, and as we identify with the body, we feel affected. We can feel some pain or some happiness, etc. But actually, when the body is finished, at one point the body is finished. The soul moves on to the next body, and the soul has not been afflicted, really. It's more a matter of identification. Like we're riding that bike and somebody smashes the wheel. We are not happy. We will say, he hit me, and he didn't. He hit your bike, but we are affected in the sense that we identify, but actually we walk right off that bike and we stay the same person. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, that's the next step. When we understand the difference between soul and matter, spirit and matter, that is a big step. Even intellectual understanding is a very good step, and realization of it is a bigger step. But then we come to the point that Bhagavad-gita, actually the 4th chapter is all about that, the difference between the individual, minute Jivatma souls who are living in this world, conditioned by the bodily conception of life, and the Supreme Soul, God, Krishna, who is never conditioned at all. There's a difference there, and we will hear more about that in the 4th chapter. But of course, when Prabhupada writes his purports, we don't need to, be in ignorance of these facts, because he brings them in a little early for our benefit. So we are parts and parcel, which is an interesting expression. It means we are parts that cannot be separated, but at the same time we are not the whole. We are different. So the first step to understand we are not this body. The second step is to understand if we are not this body, if we are spirit soul, what is our nature? And that nature is to be connected to Krishna, the Supreme Soul, in a relationship of loving service. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thoroughly studying oneself, the difference between oneself and the Supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutras, as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entity belongs to the superior nature, as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as subordinate. So we can take the example of the sun. In one sense, the sun planet and the sunshine is not different. The sunshine is an emanation, it's an expansion. It is not anything else than the sun. But the sun planet is different. We're sitting in our room and the sun comes in, and cats like to lay down in the sunbeams and they enjoy the warmth. And we see the light coming in and the sun is there. But if we would somehow or another, the sun planet would try to enter our room, we would be burnt up. The whole house would be burnt up. So there is a difference, and at the same time, there is no difference. So with us and Krishna, it's the same. We are spirit souls, we are personalities, we are Satchit Ananda to our nature, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. We don't die, we are eternal. So that is the same. Us and Krishna, that is the same. But we are very small. We can come under the influence of this ignorance. We can be conditioned like that. Krishna is never conditioned. And from Krishna, all of us, we have all emanated from Krishna. So that simultaneous oneness and difference is it's a foundational understanding of this philosophy. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance, and to drive away such ignorance the Lord teaches the Bhagavad-gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. So that's why Bhagavad-gita is here, because we're in this predicament. Somehow or another we have come to this material world, somehow or another we have come under that influence because we are very small, we can easily be influenced. And Krishna, he knows that. And Krishna wants to give us the opportunity to come back to our original, realize our original position, which is very difficult when we are in ignorance. So therefore Bhagavad-gita is there, and it can take us right out of that ignorance, just hearing Bhagavad-gita, and especially following the instructions of the Bhagavad-gita will bring us back to realizing our original spiritual nature. Yes. So Krishna wants to drive away such ignorance for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. So that's where we start. We start with hearing Krishna's instructions. We can actually notice when we hear Krishna's instructions and when we apply Krishna's instructions in our lives, we can notice that our ignorance diminishes, and our our understanding, our vision becomes more enlightened. Well, one small step at a time. So this verse of 16 is a good way of establishing that type of knowledge and establishing the importance of it. We will continue to read the next verse the next time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang